Good morning. Welcome to another edition of Coffee with Tea. I'm your host, the amazing T Street. Today's topic: don't skip the process of escaping isolation. Don't skip the process of escaping isolation. So, I wanted to cover this topic because I know that we're in isolation season. When it starts to get cold, people are not outside. We're not outside. Okay. We go internal. And sometimes, for those of us who are not married, for those of us who don't have families, who are living in our homes, we live alone, or even when we have people in our homes, but right now we feel emotionally or socially isolated, even with people around. Isolation can be a tricky thing. I think that isolation is dangerous, and I don't believe that we were meant to live in isolation. So today I wanted to cover that topic. We've all been there, surrounded by people, yet feeling completely alone. Isolation doesn't always mean being physically by yourself. Sometimes it's emotional, sometimes it's spiritual, sometimes it is even mental. But here's the good news: God never really intended for us to live in isolation. He created all of us, you and me, for connection with Him and with other people. So let's talk about how to not skip the process of isolation. And y'all know I'm going to give it to you in 3 points. First, you have to recognize the walls that you've built. Before we can escape isolation, we have to recognize that sometimes we build our own walls. That's real talk. Walls of fear, walls of pride, walls of hurt. Sometimes those walls are walls of shame. Sometimes we build walls to keep people from getting in to hurt us. And that's a natural reaction when we've been hurt. Maybe we said, "No, I'm good," when we're not really good. Maybe we avoid vulnerability because of past betrayal. I'm guilty. When people betray me, my wall gets higher. But healing begins when we admit I've been hiding. God can't heal what we keep concealed. God can't heal what we keep concealed. Recognizing your walls allows God to begin the work of breaking down the walls. There's a line from an old show that I used to do, and it says, if we build walls to keep people from getting in to hurt us, those same walls keeps people from getting in to love us. The very walls that we built to keep other people out sometimes become the things that trap us inside, like prisons. So the first thing I want to say to you is recognize the walls that you've built. Good morning, Alana. So if you are dealing with the situation of isolation, you have to first recognize the walls that you've built. Next, reach up before you reach out. Reach up before you reach out. That piece is really important. When we start to think, sometimes we immediately start to seek people, and sometimes we just need to seek God. We need a vertical connection with God before we start making horizontal connections with other people. Isolation begins when our spiritual connection is weakened. When prayer feels distant or scriptures feel dry. I don't know about y'all, but there's some times I'm reading the Bible, I'm like, Lord, this ain't penetrating. It's not resonating right now. But when we reach up, we invite God to refill us with His presence and with His peace. So the small step right here, just pray, journal your thoughts, worship. Those are the first ways that we can reach up, and then it opens us up to be able to reach out. And so if we start with God, our next step naturally. Good morning, Deaconess Rhonda. Our next step naturally is to then reach out. And so the third step, if you want to skip, if you don't want to skip the process of isolation, the next one is to reach out and to reconnect intentionally. Reconnect intentionally. My technology was messing up on me, y'all. Reconnect intentionally. What does that mean? So the first thing that we did, we said, "Oh, the first step that we took was we recognized that we had some walls. Then we reached up to God, and now it's time to do the third step. And this is the hard step for me, y'all. When my walls are up, I'm not afraid of God. Me, I don't want to deal with other people. Escaping isolation doesn't happen accidentally. It happens with intentionality. You have to go first. Send a text. Join a group. Show up at the gym, and I guarantee you, people will be like, "Oh, girl, you come here often," and all of a sudden, people are talking to you. Connection grows where courage leads. Sometimes it takes courage to step out of your box. Personally, people don't think that that's true for me. It takes a lot for me to reach out to people. It doesn't take a lot for me to go into isolation. I have a spirit of the hermit. Y'all, I could live by myself all the time, but it's not healthy. And I can be honest with y'all, whenever I'm by myself for long periods of time, the enemy gets to working on my mind. He gets to working on my emotions. The practical step for this week, reach out to one person, make a connection, not because you need to be seen, but because you were made to connect. Escaping isolation is a process. Recognize the walls, reach up to God, and reconnect intentionally with other people. You were never meant to do life alone. The same God who formed you for fellowship is inviting you back into connection today. You don't have to stay hidden. Healing happens in community, and freedom begins with one brave step out of isolation. So today, I don't know who needed this message, but I know that there are a lot of people who are suffering in silence and all alone. So I just came by to tell somebody today, you don't have to suffer in isolation alone. We were not meant to live this life alone. Don't skip the process of escaping isolation. Recognize the walls that you've built, reach up before you reach out, and then be willing to reconnect with intentionality. I'm the amazing T Street. There's absolutely positively nothing amazing in me that's not in each and every one of you. So today, take the first step of intentionally reconnecting. Have an amazing day.